the year in 2005 and 2006, that season, we were a last place team going into, not last place. We were not a playoff team going into the Christmas break. So the first part of the year we were out of didn't we weren't slotted to make the playoffs, and then our general manager Brian Burke made some key acquisitions. He moved some of our less. They were not very tough players. They were more of a skill guys like Fedorov and Peter Sikora. That he moved those guys and traded them, and he brought in some guys that were less skilled but had more grit. And just our talent in the room was probably less skilled after making these trades. Definitely less skilled.
Really?
But we had more of a chemistry. And then after Christmas, we were the second best team in the NHL, our record. So we ended up making the playoffs, 6th seed in our conference. So even though because we had such a poor start, we still scraped into the playoffs. And we went on a run and made the semifinals. Eventually we fell short to Chris Pronger and the Edmonton Oilers, and they beat us in 5 games pretty easily. And they went on to go 7 games with Carolina. But we learned, wow, we got really close, Final Four. And then in the offseason, we traded for Chris Pronger. So we had to give up Joffrey Lupul. He was a 30-goal scorer for us and big offensive punch. But we added Chris Pronger. And now we were getting back Ketzlaff and Perry and Dustin Penner, who were going to be second-year pros. And so our team got markedly better. So the Hockey News said that the Anaheim Ducks are the team of destiny. There was a headline, Team of Destiny. And so Brian Burke came into the dressing room with the Hockey News, and he said, boys, I got some good news. We're the Team of Destiny this year. Did you guys see this? And he was going like this, and shaking the newspaper and the Hockey News. And then we thought, okay, there must be something coming here. He's never this chipper. So he said, yeah. He said, guess how many years they've been correct over the last 8 years in picking the winner. They're like, I don't know, Berkey, how many? He goes, 0. They're 0 for 8. So we kind of had a laugh, and then he went on to tell us that every team is now going to be targeting us. No referees are going to give us any breaks because we're a gritty team, and it's going to be hard for us to win. But what he instilled in us in that speech was that the expectation was that we were going to win the Stanley Cup. He put the vision in our brains that we are expected to win the Stanley Cup, and if we don't, it's going to be a failure. So we expected the whole season that we knew it would be hard, and only one person in the dressing room had ever won, and so we knew it was going to be hard, but it was definitely our expectation. And then when we played Ottawa in the finals, we absolutely had the belief that if we didn't win this series, it was going to be we weren't just happy to be there. We were there for, now this is the last piece. We have to win this series. And it's funny when you're in the throes of the Stanley Cup, looking like when I was in the moment, it wasn't glamorous. Like, it's just like a game. Like, you were playing a game and you're with a group of guys you know very well. And there's all of this glamour in the stands and autographs afterwards. But you're very much just like a regular person playing this game. And that's the experience I had in the NHL. And I think all the guys, if you actually live that and go through that, that's what it ends up being. You've got your family at home. You try to live a normal life as much as you can. You happen to go to the rink with 20,000 fans and you sign autographs afterwards, and you get on a plane and you travel places. But at the end of the day, you just end up being just a regular person playing this game. And that's what it felt like in the playoffs. The only time where I felt like the pressure was when I'd play in Ottawa with the media, and you'd have like 50 media. In Anaheim, the beautiful thing is that there wasn't that much media. So it's a really great experience, but it was something that the pressure kind of just, you have to just manage it and get through it. But it was definitely a great run.
Was it disbelief when you won? Was it like, this isn't real?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when that's how I described lifting the Stanley Cup. It felt like disbelief. I felt like, what like, am I really, is this really happening to me? Like, because you play that final game and you just want to win, and you're like, okay, and now it's over, and like you're it's almost like you're numb. Like, what's actually happening? Like, all these, we just won the Stanley Cup. What does this mean? And you lift the Stanley Cup, and it's like you're just so overwhelmed with emotion. You don't know how to feel. Like, I can't even describe it. It was almost like a disbelief.
Wow.
Yeah.
Moments I'm sure that you'll cherish forever.
Definitely.
That's unbelievable. The Canadian dream. first game to a Stanley Cup, you know? Especially in Ottawa, too, where the media is, like you said, just ramped up. Not just Ottawa, just the Canadian media in general, just ramped up.
It was night and day between Anaheim and Ottawa. Ottawa, every third car had a Senators flag on it. We were in a bus going to the rink, and the people on the street recognized, not that the bus was labeled Anaheim Ducks, but they saw it and realized it was the Anaheim Ducks, and they reacted like as if like you're not welcome here. And they had this like, the city was like, oh, there's the enemy, and because they wanted to win so bad in Ottawa. I don't blame them. And we had to stay in Quebec, actually, because we couldn't find like a peaceful place in Ottawa, so we stayed off in Quebec where nobody would find us. But I remember going to the rink. I guess what gave it away was, now that I think about it, we had police escorts, so that was the reason why they were like, oh, that must be the Ducks. But yeah, it was crazy. The dressing room in I remember, like, I was a healthy scratch for the first 3 games of the finals, and I played all the other games, but there's a story with that, and I was out. But the media came in when I got back in the lineup and said, Joe, I had all the TSN and the mic in my face, and they were like, so you're back in the lineup tonight. Chris Pronger's out. He's suspended. So how are you going to replace Chris Pronger? and I'm like, how do I answer that? I was like, I don't even remember what I said. I was just like, but I mean, like, obviously I'm not going to replace Chris Pronger. Like, I'm like he's a Hall of Famer. I'm like, just coming back in the lineup to the 6th defenseman on the team. And it was just so much pressure that we didn't have in Anaheim. So it was definitely night and day between Anaheim and Ottawa in terms of the media. But it was a great, when you got off the plane in Anaheim and you got in your car and you drove home and there wasn't one fan there or one media person or nobody there, and you had 2 reporters all year that would follow the team around. That's it. It was like a break. There was like solace when you were back home in Anaheim. You didn't have to deal with all of the distraction.
That's what Nate said when they won the Cup in Tampa. He's like, at home, there's just so much pressure. But when you're away, it's just like silence. That's what he said. He's just silence. It's just no one cares because you're away. No, your friends, no family's there. No, it's just other people. Just whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, you just need that pressure to go away a little bit, and then you can just play hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing.